There we go. Turn the mic up. Turn the mic up. The lighting's a little funky today. Got to move up real close. I got this little light here. It's kind of cool. Anyway, you guys are. I didn't set the big lights up. So anyway, no big deal. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's roll the open. How about it? It's a Friday. Happy Friday. No, it's Monday. Gosh, what day is it? Gosh, I got no idea. Let's roll it. Yeah, I'm going to put a reminder on the screen. It's Monday, so I can remember, because apparently I must have had such a great weekend. I think it's Friday again. I don't know. Glad you're along. Happy Monday. Pete, good to see my friend. Good to see you out there. Hope you're doing well. GM, she's hearing us. She'll be along shortly. What do we got going on? Well, in case you've never stumbled upon this on my Facebook, or if you're on YouTube Live as well, just to refresh your course, this is the show where you walk the bar and say, what do you got? Say, you kind of looks behind you at the bar and says, well, we're out of this. We got a couple of these. That's what you get. You got to get a couple of these. We don't really give you much of a menu. We just kind of throw it out there and hope you'll stay around for at least one, maybe two. Anyway, hope you're doing well on this Monday. A little overcast here. I didn't even check the thermometer at the DFW airport a few minutes ago. What is it out there? 97 now. I don't even think we reached 100 today. We're supposed to. We had a really weird, bizarre weekend of weather. Friday, 104, 105-ish, depending where you were. Saturday began like that. Reached about 104 as well. 103, I think, was the high. We went to dinner with some friends, met them about 7:30 at Fernando's, and by the time we got about an hour in, maybe 45 minutes in, there were some boomers, and you can kind of see off the distance to the north and the east. It has that spring, if you live in the Midwest of the United States, maybe down in Mississippi like Pete is, or anywhere that whole Tornado Alley, which basically runs, you draw a big swath across North America, basically from Toronto across down to past El Paso. That's big, huge diagonal swath, and it really covers most of the Deep South, the Midwest, a lot of area. You get that spring thunderboom, the thunderstorms, tornadoes, the fronts hit and all that. We had one of those cold fronts, but this one was a weird one because we don't get that kind of front in August. That's more of a September, more of an October, perhaps May, June, April, May, June for us. Usually we get those convective storms will pop up and maybe spot here and there, and that's about it. We got actually a big wave on Saturday night, and it just caught us. We were on the patio. Temperature dropped from 99 to, I don't know, mid-90s. But then the rain came, and it was so warm. It was an old Florida deal where the steam was coming up from the ground, and but anyway, rain was gone that night. Seemed like it was going to be a normal night. Right? Go home, and next morning, another front blows through, and we had a monsoon from about, 5 in the morning. And I remember waking up around 8, as my wife has a women's group. She's a part of at 8 a.m., and it was still pitch black outside. I thought, what time is it? And she's not here. Anyway, the dog usually goes out then. He couldn't. I mean, it was literally pouring and rained most of the morning from about 5 a.m. until mid-morning. Then yesterday afternoon, boom, the sun's out by 4 o'clock, and it's 90 some odd degrees, almost 100. And then we're supposed to get it to drop back down again in the course of the week. It's supposed to be as low as 70 overnight. It's supposed to be 89 on Wednesday. So let's go to Mom. She's been standing by. Sorry I didn't get to you right away, Mom. I was explaining the weather here. How are you?
I'm great. That's okay. I was doing a crossword puzzle and eating a taco.
Where's the taco from? Taco Bell?
Oh God, no! From Chico's. I'm slumming it today.
I thought Chico's was the place you get your clothes at.
I'm not Chico's. Chili's. Good grief.
No, I'm thinking. How many
It,
how many wines? I should have probably came to you first. I
yeah,
guess.
well, no, I've only had a half a glass, so I'm okay. Yeah, I've been busy, done much ado about nothing. I think that's a Shakespearean play, right? But
Yeah, I just found out yesterday Shakespeare is not alive anymore. I thought he was some dude still living in England. That's how much I didn't know.
oh
So
well,
I had my wife had explained
I
that
think
to me.
he's been expired for a number of years. So
Yeah, I didn't know he was in the 1600s. I thought he was like some dude that was like in the 60s. I didn't know that.
well, hey,
I learned a lot yesterday from my wife. She was not real happy with my dunce cap, but
well,
all good.
that's why you broadcast and she teaches literature.
Yes, she's the brains of the operation. I'm just
And I
the
teach history used
well,
to, but I don't and I could. But Shakespeare wasn't on my radar. It was like Texas and American history. Oh,
right.
tell Kevin I've only
Well,
had
he
a
can
half
hear
a
you,
glass.
Mom. He can hear you, Mom. Well, how many halves is the question because those halves add up.
Well, you can see the glass. It's rather small tonight. There you go.
GM says I'm full of something with a I and a T in it. Boy,
I know. Well, I thought
she's
this.
got a salty mouth. That's why I married those Catholics. They get those salty mouths. Those Protestants,
Mhm,
we don't really we talk
mhm.
like that.
Well, you were Southern Baptist, and you have the same problem. So there
No,
you
I
go.
don't. I'm very, very
And
non-foul
you
mouthed.
inherited from somebody that we all know and I don't
Yeah,
love, but you do. But anyway,
yeah. Well, oh well.
uh,
Well, he's not here to defend himself right now, so all
that's
good. But yes, you're right. I didn't hear that from him. But anyway, so yeah, we had a weird. I mean, it's a weird. And I looked outside. Now the sun's back out, but it's almost as if this is April, May, June weather, which we get a little of that in September sometimes. Because really, you can almost set up your clock to it. September 1st, weather starts to change right here. But we were like 104, and then we got a steady dose of rain on Saturday, big storms, and then we got rain over a couple, 7 hours later, 6 hours later, most half of the day yesterday, and then it was 100 degrees. It was just bizarre. It was
yeah. Well, we've had
yeah.
some pretty mild weather here. The football game on Friday that I was so that was such a relief to get to attend a real live event that I'm used to attending, and
Yeah, I
it was
had to call Uncle Bobby and find out what the story of the game was. I had to go. No one. He usually used to message me. I guess he's not doing that much anymore. I had to.
well, it's crazy. They didn't have the after game thing. That they go to the coach's house and and I'm usually included. I don't know why, but anyway, that's not happening because of social distancing. And but it was just great to see the kids. I was so sad though when I got to thinking about it that my grandson is not getting the same experience. But as Sam says, Mom, this may not last. It could happen today or tomorrow. So far, I haven't heard anything. But anyway, it was a good game. It's our crosstown rival that they think that we're the only real strong team they ever played. They're in the lower division, and so it was good to end up winning. We had to go into overtime, but anyway, we beat
That's
them.
what he said.
Um, uh, so, um, so anyway, yeah, I've been busy. I'm working. We're getting ready. I don't know if I told you this or not, but the Council on Aging is doing a virtual fundraiser, and we're doing it on. There are three radio stations under the
Yeah, you told
label.
me this. Yeah, you told me
I didn't know if I told you, but anyway,
this.
we're gearing up to get sponsors, and I'm in touch with several of the people who gave to me last year, and some new ones that I met at a wine dinner this week.
How about that?
I missed you on Wednesday because I was out hobnobbing with the haves. The have-nots they sometimes include, and that would be me. But I paid for my fare, so there you go. And
Well,
it was a 5 courses, and each there was wine pairings, and the muckety mucks of Elkhart were there, and it was great. And then so I missed you on Wednesday, and then we had football. We started. I got on Friday before we went to the game. Stephanie brought me food
right.
from our usual place that we go to eat before the games, but she couldn't eat because she had 4 teeth removed. So on Tuesday. So anyway, So my life, and we're really gearing up for this fundraiser. We need to raise 200 or more $1,000. So I'm trying to hit. Well, right now is a good time because the RV industry in Elkhart is going great guns. Now, in a few months, it'll probably go down the tube. But right now, people are buying RVs. The interest rates are low. People are buying our houses in the area. So Elkhart is financially on a move, but the bottom could fall out in a month or so. So we're moving fast to try to capture that extra revenue that the companies have around here. So anyway, that's what I've been doing.
Well, good. That works.
Schmoozing everybody.
That works. That works.
And I guess that's it. So I will get on the other side, and you tell Kevin he's on stage now.
Well, I will let him know. I'm sure he'll duly.
Well,
I'm sure he'll duly note
me,
that.
I'm sure, but anyway.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Love
Well,
you.
love you too. Instead of trouble, Mom. Love you. Be good.
And congratulations on the landmark at 4 more pounds, and you get another boost.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one after eating pizza and fajitas this weekend and Rita's. I might had to do an hour and 16 minutes on the pavement today. It was a beating.
Yeah. Well,
that was a beating.
But you're working at it.
Yep, tried.
The pounds you're losing are coming my direction. I can tell you for sure.
All good.
Love you.
Love you too, Mom. Be good. There she goes, Mom, right there up in Indiana. See you later, Mom. I love you. As she up there in Indiana, and I kind of kept her. I got that whole long weather thing. I don't know why weather sort of amuses me. I took a meteorology class at Tech. I never wanted to be a weatherman or anything like that. I was always wanted to be a sports guy, but I knew that I always enjoyed my time when I was with the ABC affiliate in Lubbock. I really got to know the weather guys. Always liked them. Don't think we had any weather ladies there. We do now. They do now, but I don't. But the weathermen were both. There's two of them at the ABC affiliate. And I guess it comes from my granddad. My granddad, who lived at the time, no longer with us, but my mom's dad, lived about an hour. They lived an hour southwest of Lubbock, basically between Lubbock and Midland, Odessa, which, if you know West Texas, that's kind of, sort of, it's kind of in the middle of the two. Lubbock's the middle of the Panhandle. The Permian Basin is the very bottom. It's not really the Panhandle. It's kind of where Texas. If you know Texas, and it's got the Panhandles here, and then here's the arm that goes out till it would be like this, right, for you guys. So it'd be the arm going. That looks like Texas right there. Yeah. Okay. So you've got that's where El Paso is. Well, the Permian Basin's there, Lubbock's there, and then Amarillo's up there. Anyway, Granddad though was fortunate enough. He had the weather. This is back before really the Weather Channel was a big player. Now it's obviously the Weather Channels we all go to now. He thought it was so cool when he come to Dallas and see cable that they had the Weather Channel. Well, out there, he had all 3 affiliates in Lubbock. He had all 3 affiliates in Midland, Odessa. Plus, you got to remember that whole little angle right there, New Mexico. So you had Eastern New Mexico, which usually Roswell or Hobbs, and they had a satellite station that came out of Albuquerque or Almaguardo. So he got plenty of weather. So I guess part of it's because I always knew my granddad always watched the weather. As a farmer, you always watch the weather. It's what farmers do. Farmers, especially old school farmers, not so much now they have a lot of irrigation, but folks who really live and work off the land, they look at the weather. They're always looking around. That's something they do. And I guess I kind of got that habit a bit from him, even though I didn't quite. And so I'm still the same way to a degree. I do pretty much every day sort of check what's going to be like the next. I mean, that's something I do. I've even gotten to the point where I'm converting the temperatures back and forth between Fahrenheit and Celsius. Of course, some places like Perth, where it's beautiful when I'm there, you don't have to really worry much about it. But in the wintertime here, it's a little different. So I follow the weather a little bit. Maybe it's kind of nerdy of me, but I did take a meteorology class as an elective at Tech, and it was a blast. And what I learned were things about, how the clouds hit, the different, you just think, oh, well, here comes a front, but how the fronts met, which one's won, how tornadoes are formed, all this stuff. It was really cool. And of course, you got out there a lot of storm chasers. We had one, our weather guy, the weekend weather guy, was a storm chaser at the time I was out there. And he and one of the photographers we had on the news side, they would go and chase storms all the time. And then occasionally they'd swing through some small town, grab some highlights of a sporting event or whatever, and race on back to the station. That's what they did. That's what you do in West Texas. You follow the weather. So, yeah, it's got to connect in the field. Kevin's a good mate, Mom. He's a really good bloke. You like him. He's a really good guy. And one of my dearest mates. He's a really, really good guy. How's everybody doing today? I want to show you guys something I talked about on Friday. First of all, let me just check in who's not chatting. But well, I would love to have you chat. By the way, if you'd like, you can do this. You can go to the old green room and join us. As I was texting my dentist, it's so the technology is so good now. They just text you and tell you, oh, get an appointment and all that now. Well, I was just there. I was supposed to be there. I didn't know I was supposed to go every 3 months with what I've been working on. So about 4 years ago, I had to go in and get a real dental overhaul. It was a real mess. So I'm still getting the monitor for that. So anyway, be a short cleaning hopefully, but I just realized it totally throws my wheels off for my broadcast day on Wednesday. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I may have to, who knows. All good though. I didn't have a real big show planned for Wednesday, so it worked out for the T-Bones. I only have 2 more of those, but I just kind of got behind working on some other items. So how you guys doing? How's everybody doing today? Doing good, I hope. Hope you kind of know that it's Monday, like I did. Yes, moisture. Farmhouse has been, yes. Yeah, as a kid growing up, of course, in my world, the sports is always, in my house in Dallas, sports is always a big player. Sports came on, the old man of the sports on, we watched the sports. That was the way it was. And if you're lucky enough, you'd watch the ABC affiliate at 20, back in those days, sports came on at like 20 after the hour. The weather was around 15 after the hour. And then if one of the stations, I believe the ABC affiliate, back in the day, KXAS, would flip them, they would do sports, then weather, and give the weather a little bit more time. Back in those, now the weather gets a top of the hour. Usually at this weather, they get an early weather thing on the top of the hour, and they have the full weather forecast, and then you have a little break, and then they squeeze the sports cast down to about 3 minutes now. I mean, it's like the newspaper. It's been all sports section's been squeezed down in most major cities. It's just crazy. But anyway, yes, you had to be quiet, and you knew that when the weather came on, my granddad, when he was in Dallas, he'd even come down and watch the weather, and we had to be quiet with the weather. As little kids, little soldiers, we had to be real. There was no horsing around, no messing around, no screwing around. My granddad was watching the weather, which is that's the way it was. I remember walking out the patio of the porch with him when out in West Texas when I was in school and watching funnel clouds skip across the horizon as he's watching from a couple hundred yards away. No big deal. I guess he figured if it hit the house that he was going to heaven. I don't think he was too concerned about it. It was very, very relaxed man when it came to that stuff. So anyway, although there was a big Mom, you may recall this. I was telling Gabriel this. There was a shelter on Telephone Road, which there was my great grandfather lived on my grandmother's side. But anyway, it's crazy. We were talking about this the other day. Speaking of weather, even here in Preston Hollow, we're still looking at the remnants of the tornado from last October. We're still looking at, there's a Central Market that's been redone. Now, they went in and tore up the entire, the McDonald's is back open again, and some of the restaurants are the area around it, but the rest of this Preston Royal area, the south, if you know the area in Dallas, the southeast side, they leveled all that retail and left the framework of the Central Market. And my wife and I were talking about this the other day. I want to bring her on in a moment. Still haven't got that fit completely finished. And you and I were talking about this the other day, WD-40. Amazing that they still haven't gotten. It looks like that Central Market's maybe still.
It doesn't look like it's come that far.
Well, they've got it. Everything else around it, the McDonald's is back up and running again. And that whole area is cleared out, but that Central Market looks like it's got at least another couple months. There's signs there. It's coming soon, but I'm thinking, what does that mean? Sometime in 2021, 2022?
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath. It is so slow.
Yeah, I don't know why. And again.
Well, and the problem with that on my end is that it impedes our or my junior's ability to host McDonald's week as planned because we can't get back and forth through that back alley like we normally do because of all that construction. So they need to hurry up. We've
Yeah,
got
it's
money
odd.
to
It
raise.
makes me drive too far for Central Market. Central Market is the um, in Texas. You've got a couple big players in the grocery market, and one of them is the HEB, which is out of down in San Antonio, I believe, and they've got this concept called Central Market. It's really cool, expensive, but really cool. It's kind of like it's Whole Foods, basically very similar, but it's a little larger. They really got great beer
A little more artisanal.
yeah, maybe the best word for it. Great wine selection, great beer, great specialty items. Great, I've got a great fishmonger. They've got a great, a really solid butcher shop.
Did
And
you
there's
get
another
the
one,
juices? They do juices too.
juices, all, fresh fruit. I mean, everything. Well, every store does that, but really the good stuff. And there's also, you
They have
got
good
everybody's got
recipes and tastings and stuff like that.
you got Whole Foods, which is out of Austin, but it's a national brand. Whole Foods is all over the country, but they're out of Austin. Then you've got the United Supermarket Group, which is out of Lubbock, but they've got a one called Market Street, which is really cool too, kind of almost like hybrid of the two.
We
And
have
they've got
here. We have
what's
Market
that?
Street here.
I know we don't have one here in our area,
Yeah.
but they have them in the suburbs, like over in I don't know
Alan has
Plano, Frisco. Allen has them, Frisco, Colleyville. And the thing about what I love about that place is they have the best sausage. And they've also got a deli counter, or not deli counter, a it's kind of like you go into a place, they've got full meals they make for you right there, and you can customize your
like
meal.
A little restaurant. You could actually
yeah, it's cool. It's kind of like Eatsies, but on steroids. If you know what Eatsies is, but anyway,
we were
Eatsies is a cool place too.
Quick. Let's run to Market
Yeah,
Street dinner.
well, school starts for you. Eatsies is a big player for me because usually I roll in there about once a week to get my
they have that great
whatever
turkey meatloaf.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that
really
smells so good. We haven't had that in forever.
Well, it's not quite the meatloaf time yet, but we will try it. So anyway, yeah. So what's going on with you?
Finished another day of school. Man, it is tiring being online all day. I mean, it is really tiring because I used my time in between classes to grade, so that it was just like nonstop. It was just exhausting.
Well, it's that way. It's how it works. Welcome, Tom Jeffrey. Good to see you out there, my friend. You joined us late. You're wondering what the heck we're doing. We're just this virtual happy hour. That's what we do. We just sit around, chat. It's the show where you walk up the bar and say, "Give me what you got." Well, I've only got a couple left, and here's what you get. You can't order a specialty cocktail here. It's just whatever we got. Today we got a little bit of nothing. Although I did put a little.
You're drinking out of a Penn State cup, and you're wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey. So are you
No
wearing
shirt?
Just
a T-shirt.
Yeah, shirt.
T-shirt, babe. Not a
because
jersey.
Of the scrimmage yesterday, because you were so happy to see football on TV on a Sunday.
I didn't have any.
That is yes.
Well, I guess I don't know. I was wearing it because I didn't want to wear anything nice because I didn't have anything going on today. I mean, it was kind of like this is it. I mean, I was working on the website, and
well, I like that you chose the Penn State cup.
I need something tall to hold coffee and some Baileys. So
you have coffee and Baileys in my Penn State cup?
Iced coffee, yeah.
Oh,
is that okay? Is that against the rules? So Craig wants to go to. We have 3 countries going here. Actually 4 if you count.
I thought that Penn State cups were just for Rolling Rocks.
I don't know. I don't know what that is, but
you know what a Rolling Rock beer is. You had one at the Skeller.
Yeah, but I don't. That's not something that moves my radar. You want to, Shiner or something like that.
I'm just
Dallas Blonde or some good barbecue or fajitas. That one, but that stuff up there, flannel and chopping down trees is not my thing. So
there was a Cantina Laredo. Caroline will be happy to know a Cantina Laredo gift card in my box today when I picked up the stuff that was in my mailbox.
Well, that's good. How about that? What'd you do? What'd you do?
I said we will have to order something to pick up at some point.
No, but what did you do to get that?
Oh, I had to go get COVID tested, so I ran into my box, and that's when I got my St. Mark Senior shirt, which is literally big enough for 2 of me. So I'm going to try to get that. And my Scarlet Letter version that I bought for the boys, and my key to my classroom, because I'm technically not in my classroom this year because of COVID. My room's an isolation room. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's it.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you why you had the gift certificate.
Oh, they were in I think from the Parents Association, they said, "Thank you for all you do. We know that you're working hard in terrible circumstances."
Huh? How about that?
Yeah, that was nice.
You know, and I will say this. I'm not, I believe in a certain kind of education. I'm not saying that I'm a huge fan of the education that they provide there. You know this, but I will say this: they do a great job of taking care of their people and appreciating the work that people like you do. And they don't. I mean, the parents are very thankful for. I mean, it's amazing how many, it's amazing how they really appreciate you guys there at the square.
Our parents are great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of a TCA, Trinity Christian Academy, or Prince of Peace fan. That's just me, because I believe in that education. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, we have religious ed too. It just is a little.
I'm just being snarky because I can.
I know you're snarky.
I'm just being snarky because I believe.
It's a good thing you're cute. That's all.
I believe in the Jesus. That's why.
I'm just saying it's just a good thing you're cute.
Well, I'm glad you think that. That's definitely a. So yeah, we got Canada, Australia, United States, and Texas. 4 countries right now. How about that?
Who's from Canada?
Craig was here a moment ago. He was here.
Okay, cool. That's right.
So
Winnipeg.
Old neighbor David, good to see him. Australia, Paulie just checked in. Good morning, Paul. What are you doing, babe? Turn the volume down, sweetheart.
The picture of Leaf in their front yard the other day. He's first of all, so tall.
Yeah.
And holy cow, could he be any cuter? He looks like a little tiny version.
Yeah. Our friends she's talking about live in Australia, live in Perth, and Paul's from Perth. His lovely wife is from she's Canadian. She's from the Ottawa area, I believe, and we're just dynamite people, Tiana and Paul. And the 2 kiddos are just, and it was funny because I was going through some photos today, Paul, if you're watching. I'm doing our website, and I was adding some photos in, Paul's bio, and I put just kind of, I went through my archives of what I had, and I had some really good, I had a picture of him and, Mayor, Mayor was still, I mean, she was a little bitty. I mean, she was before I think he was born. I mean, there's some really cute ones, and I'm going to put together an album and send those.
You know what picture you need to put up of Mayora and Leaf? You need to put up the pictures of them eating ice cream out at that stadium where they had just like that ice cream all over their face. They're so cute.
Yeah, well, they're awesome. They're all, and the family's just awesome. And I was trying to, like I said, I was going along. There was a picture I had of me, and probably the first time I met him, he was probably he was probably about a year and a half old, because he just had his birthday a couple weeks ago. Yep. So I met him the March after he was born, I think. So he was less than a year old. I think that's right. Or it may have been when I think that's right. Because he was born, I think, when I was in my visa issue. And anyway, but he was little. I mean, he was sitting there in his little high chair, and he just sitting there. There's a really good picture of him and him. There was a couple pictures of them as a family. There was one of us at the footy at the old stadium in Subiaco. But anyway, it was just funny going through those photos today and realizing how fast they've grown. And then I'm going through there, and I saw some of one of my trips to Australia the night before, or a couple days before. You and I and Caroline and Joey Maul had gone to a dinner and church or something, and then I'm looking back going, boy, I mean, that was like 4 or 5 years ago, but gosh, it's just like even they've changed, I mean, it's like, it's crazy, It's crazy.
Time flies.
Yeah, it was a picture of me and Caroline when she did the drill team show, the spring show. I guess it was our senior or junior year.
Well, she did spring shows both year, but
one other year I had to dance in that thing, and I'm down there passed out.
They did the dad's dance.
Yeah, and so me and Ahmad got out there and did that. So all good, but yeah. Mom says that Clark Hunt some coverage today about the Chiefs. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure he did. I didn't know, and that you may know this for the Chiefs folks. I know Dan was out there a moment ago. I didn't know that Lamar Hunt Jr. lived in KC. He lives in KC, runs on a hockey team up there. Do you know that?
I do not. I don't keep up with the rest of the family.
I just didn't know. I didn't. He's a St. Mark's guy, so I thought you'd know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could look him up on the alumni thing, but I don't.
I just know you like that whole deal. So what else is going on? There's Jim out there. Good to see you, Jim. So what else you got going
Recall
on?
notice on your car.
What? Oh.
It's something with your seatbelt. So I
Oh.
need to call Volvo.
You know, I got to go to the dentist on Wednesday.
You go to the dentist on Wednesday? Did
Yeah,
you
you
call?
remember? Yeah, but they messaged me again and said that I'm supposed to go every 3 months.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know about that. We need to call
Well,
your
you haven't
insurance.
you haven't really paid attention, so I guess I have to go. So I don't have to rearrange my Wednesday, but all good. I'll do the show early maybe and get it over with. I don't know.
What
It's
time are
gonna
you
be a
going?
little, I thought it was 11. Don't remember exactly, but I'll have to look and see. But I meant to call them, and I was working on the website trying to get. I didn't get hardly anything done today because I didn't. I laid on my ass this morning and then worked out for an hour and 15 minutes. It takes you an hour to cool down, and I jumped in and I'm trying to get as much of that. Only thing I didn't do the website is I didn't have you proof it, but I went and published it so Paul can check it out. So,
Well, yeah, I need to edit it before
you know,
anybody else can see it.
well, no one's looking at it yet because I haven't pushed the fact that it's out yet. It's the only person that knows it's out is him.
Well, let me edit it before it goes out.
Well, it's already out. It's just that's not the point. It's just no one. It's not been It's published so we can see it, sweetheart. I can't. I tried to send him a link last night. He couldn't check it out when I sent the link to him. So I finally had to publish it so he could see it. So then I can just unpublish it when I need to. So it's all good. All good.
Okay, well, I'm gonna check out because I don't want to yawn.
All right. Well, thanks for yawning and making my show even less exciting.
Sorry, I'm tired.
All right. See you later. Thanks for playing.
Hey, Tommy. Bye.
See you. Love you. There we go. WD-40. I do feel bad for her in a way because, again, this is there's a TI. We need to get together for sure. We actually went with met Matt and Angie out on Saturday night. That's who we were with on Saturday. Had a great time with them. We could have sat there an hour and chatted. We sat there. As soon as we get together with them, we just could keep going and going and going. And we had a really good time with them. You guys are going to join us next time. Come to town and join us. You've been traveling a bit. I saw you guys were up in Colorado, and Tom does a little flying. I think he flies for FedEx. Flies the big birds internationally. The big birds. I think he's flying. Are you guys 777s or are you guys Airbus? I think you're 777s. I think I should know, but anyway. All good. All good. Yes. I feel for the wife because, again, this is kind of, I'll relate this to broadcasting a little bit. We're seeing a trend in broadcast, especially at the major league level. I'll use an example where a lot of these broadcasters are doing the games. Like, for example, the Rangers play Seattle on the road in Seattle. Those guys aren't going to Seattle to broadcast the games. They're broadcasting remotely from Texas. When Seattle comes to Texas, the Ranger broadcasters are there, but the Seattle guys are calling from there in Seattle, and the radio guys too. And having done that, it's a challenge because there's something, especially the radio side. You're a painter, you're an artist, and you're trying to paint a picture. Sky's blue. Well, you can look up and see what kind of blue it is. Is it really dark blue, light blue? Is it hazy blue? Is there clouds? You can't always do that when you're broadcasting remote. Now, you could do a good job and tell the story and provide the proper, especially the TV side, you can provide enough information there. But really, it's hard. And Paul and I have done it from Australia. He was in Australia. I was in the States. And we were broadcasting. He was in one part of Australia. We were broadcasting a game across the country. And I was in the States. And it's a challenge. So from that same standpoint, if you're a teacher and you're used to being in the classroom and seeing kids face-to-face, and you do that, and you do that, and David's going to join me too in a moment, I think. David, I can't see you, but I can hear you, my friend.
How are you, Dan?
Doing good. I can't see you, but I got you. I should probably put the voice up. How about that? I'll put your voice up there. There we go. How's it going? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Connecticut right now, and just figured I'd call in. I've never been on your show. I'm like, geez, I listen to every show. I think maybe I'll call in at some point.
That's what's beautiful about it. It's like the show. You just show up and anybody can get on. It's good. I saw your name pop up and holy smokes, I got to get him on. Even though it's actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put the voice of so we can top things up there.
Yeah, everything's good. Actually, started to cool down in the last day or so. So those high 80s, low 90s, I think, are coming to an end, hopefully. But school's starting up and everything's starting up now. So yeah, everything's good here.
Yeah, it's weird. I think you heard me talk about the weather. Boy, it was weird over here. I mean, we had 104 degrees, and about 3 hours later, we had a monsoon. Then we had humidity. Then we had a monsoon. It's just crazy. It's just weird. It's like I said this. I keep saying March, whatever it is, March 500th is terrible. I mean, it's brutal, but it seems like things are better up that way. That's good, though. I mean, seems like.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much with baseball or that sort of stuff. It's been it's been a funky year. So other than getting out to a couple of games in New York, New Jersey, it's pretty much been just online games every night.
Yeah, how much have you watched?
I mean, most nights I'm watching American Association games. I've seen a few of the games in the other leagues, whether it's Sugar Land, Joliet, Rockland, New Jersey, Sussex, that one as well.
Right. Yeah, that Sugar Land League, I think, just wrapped up yesterday. I think.
Yeah, yesterday
was
last day.
I was trying to track down Ramsey Romano and see if I can get him on maybe next week or something or a week after, because I want to get his experience. Look, those rosters, that looked like a pretty good league. The one down in Sugar Land, there was some decent talent down there, and I don't know how competitive the games were, and I didn't watch that much of those, but it looked like pretty good rosters anyway. I mean, sort of. I mean, it looked like, and really, I've enjoyed watching the American Association, but it's so weird. And I can't remember, somebody said this today in Dallas on, I think the morning news writer, Evan Grant, was talking about, well, usually you'd have something to look at, like all these trades that went down today. You're able to say, oh, this kid's at AA, and he did this year, he's doing this. But there's no minor league baseball except for the independents. And you're like, it's hard to track those kids, those prospects. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting too. Like, there are quite a few guys in the indie leagues this year who are under affiliated control as well. So that's been interesting. Between there's over 50 guys in all the indie leagues this summer who are under control. So a lot of them are in Sugar Land. Joliet's got a bunch. I'm trying to think where the other guys are. I know when I saw a couple games in New Jersey and New York, there was a handful of guys in those leagues this summer, under control right now.
Yeah. I was amazed. I saw that list today, and I was going through some of the names that were on loan in the association too, and quite a few of them. It really hurt. I'll tell you what really hurt. You've heard me talk about this on our broadcast over the years, but it really hurt by our Australian kids, because most of them, a lot of them didn't even get over here. They because they can't travel. Some of them were actually, a couple of young kids were on their way to spring training, and from Perth to say Sydney, and they got a call saying, "Oh, you guys come back, don't come over yet." And then they're locked down in Australia. They didn't even get a chance to even have a minor league season. And a couple of those kids one kid got released. He was over here, got released, but couldn't go back. He's been stuck here since March. Couldn't go home. And we had some guys like national team members like Robbie Glendenning, who's not getting at bats this summer, and Team Australia really wants to qualify for Tokyo, but they got to do it by playing the qualifier. But these guys aren't getting at bats, and there's no chance. I mean, there's even a chance we don't play in the ABL this winter. I mean, that's a lot of up in the airs, and I feel for these kids, whether it be Australian prospects or American prospects. There's no. As well as I do how the great game works, man. You don't have repetition. It's like anything in life. You don't have repetition, man. You're gonna have a hard time. But yeah, this is a weird time for the minor leagues, isn't it, man? It's weird.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard to even recommend. People ask like, "Hey, what should I do?" Players to ask. Right. It's like the best thing to do is like keep getting reps, keep getting ABs, innings pitched, stuff like that. But there's other factors involved too in some of these leagues. Like, I know the Somerset League that was happening in New Jersey, that just wrapped up about a week ago. I mean, their rosters is, I think, 100% New Jersey players. So a lot of the leagues are simply looking for guys that can commute to the ballpark every day.
Sure,
Or
sure.
some of these leagues are just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday type leagues too. And I would imagine some of the arms are only showing up on the days that they know they're going to pitch, or, so, managers are trying to say, hey, you know what, you're only going to pitch Saturday, so just be here Saturday. Or, they're planning ahead on, even for relief pitchers, just saying, hey, you're going to pitch Thursday and Sunday, and that's it. So,
yeah, it's great. I've watched a lot of the American. I do. I'll tell you this though. You've seen a lot of it. I love the new American Association site with all the possibilities there. And I knew I was involved a little bit in the early discussion of that, so I knew it was going to be a really cool deal. But it's been great to see all the games on and all that kind of stuff. But I'm amazed what they've done. I mean, I'm amazed that they've somehow, that league is basically 10 days away from getting all the regular, well, not all of them, but their shortened season, the books, without a meltdown. I mean, they've had one meltdown, one game they've had COVID out. I mean, that's amazing to me that those guys have done that. I mean, I'm blown away the American Association is doing what they've done. It's really, I'm proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, they've done a great job. And obviously it's like, too bad, the 6 teams not playing were able to. And I know that was a tough pill to swallow. But as far as like a league exposure, and you got to commend the 6 teams not participating, just doing what's in the best interest of the league and what's going to help the league next year. So from an exposure standpoint,
yeah.
I mean, just obviously putting 12 teams into 6 essentially this year has been great for the league. And you look at some of these lineups, whether it's the pitching or it's
crazy. I mean, it's like they're super teams. There's steroid. I know the word's wrong, probably the wrong word, but they're supercharged teams. They're like, I mean, you look at these lineups, I'm going like, oh my gosh. I mean, they really have top-notch players at every spot. There's no easy spot that you can't get to because there's some times in the season you can pitch around a guy in the 5th spot. You can, then you can sort of work your way around a lineup, but it's hard to work your way around a lineup. And plus, what I love is those bullpens they've got this Brooke Knight. Good to see you, Brooke. Speaking of Australia, Team Australia, but it's amazing what they've done. Hey, tell me this about up there in Connecticut. I'm interested in this because my brother and I were talking this morning, and are they playing any high school sports at all this fall up that way?
Yeah, so right now, Connecticut, they've switched their stance a few times. Initially, it was green light, and then they paused training. I think they've resumed training, and I think competition's supposed to start around October 1st. But I think they're trying to just buy themselves more time to get more information and see what the schools themselves are doing, see what the data shows, and then make a decision from there. But I coach cross country at the college level, so I'm on the phone with recruits every day from New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, all different states, and every state's doing different things. Some states are practicing right now in the Northeast. Some are not. Some have already canceled their state championship meets in November. Some are on. Some have canceled the big invitational meet. So I think every state's just doing their own thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so weird. I got my nephew is a senior. One of them's already graduated. He's a sophomore in college, but senior year, he's really come on as a footballer, and he's a good soccer player, but he's really come on the last couple of years. Undersized kid, but he's really, I've really enjoyed watching him play, kick, punt, and receiver. But I mean, they're not playing right now. And it's like every couple of days I'm messaging my brother going, hey, any news? And it's just, but they did play though. Hey, there's Donna, going to see you, Donna. They did play the smaller classifications down here played Friday night. The bigger ones will go later on this week. But yeah, it's brutal. I don't know. I don't know. Part of me is selfish, and I don't know how in the world. I mean, I'm mad about all this because it's cost me a summer and cost my nephew, and probably going to cost me a winter. But boy, I get why. But it's a tough pill to swallow. I tell you, and for us folks that make a living in the sports world, it's tough pill to swallow. I'm glad you're hanging in there. Boy, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely been different. And for me, like usually I'm hopping on the Indy trails third week in April. And a year ago, I saw, I think, all 38 Indy teams in the 4 big leagues. And so I'm used to just being out on the road and not, home watching games online every night. So, but it's tough because, like I also teach and coach and, having to tell my athletes like, hey, you're not having a fall season. And our athletes at the college here, like just came back today. They start classes tomorrow and we're going to start practicing and everything like that. But the seniors essentially aren't having their season. So it's tough, but the spring sports already, lost their season last year, the fall pretty much. And, the winters, some of the winter sports are going to lose their season. So
how long I've meant to ask you this several times, but I haven't a chance to. Now I got you live on Facebook. I can ask it. So long you scouted, how many years?
This was my 24th.
Dang. I knew you'd done it a while. I knew you'd done it a while.
Yeah, I was on the amateur side for 11 or 12 years and then switched over to the pro side with the Red Sox in 2009 doing the independent league. So initially it was just doing the Atlantic League and the Can-Am League. And back then the Atlantic League had a team in Bridgeport, which is 5 minutes from my house.
Yep.
So I could sit at Bridgeport and see all the teams. And then in the Can-Am at the time, there were 3 Massachusetts teams. So I could see Worcester, Brockton, Pittsfield, and all those within 2 hours of me. And now like the whole footprint's changed.
Yeah.
And then obviously when the Can-Am merged with the Frontier League, the footprint really changed. And, we'll see with all the leagues, like what's going to happen now. There's all sorts of things floating around about the Frontier League. And once the MILB contraction list comes out and where those teams are going to end, there's so much that who knows what's going to happen.
It's such a crazy deal. I mean, I'm really happy that I'm in a stable league in a great place. Everybody wants to get an affiliated ball, but I mean, it's having been there in one of the places, Burlington, Iowa, where I was. Oh gosh, it was back in '99, 2000. But they're on the list to be chopped off. I mean, that's going to go away. They've been baseball there for 100 and some odd years in that little town, and they're not going to have it, or at least not affiliated ball. They may get into bitty ball, they may not. But I mean, having been there, know those people, how much it matters to them. That's tough stuff. Do you know? I don't know if I asked you this from the air before. But do you know Steve Fish?
I know of him. I know he does the international stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know he's a Red Sox guy. He's a mate of mine. He's does a lot of stuff with high performance in Perth, and he's an American guy. But he pitching coach, was a manager at one time. He works with Team Australia, but I knew he did some international with the Red Sox. Red Sox have been pretty busy internationally. I mean, they a lot of teams are. Yeah,
for sure. So
I didn't know.
Like players come from all different ways, whether it's amateur, pro, international. Indie leagues, like it's just a matter of identifying and finding and evaluating and developing. So,
what I'm gonna do one day, I'm going to get you on the T-Bone show at some point, like, and talk some serious scouting stuff. If you can ever do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll do that this winter, especially once things settle down, because you'd be a great resource for that. But yeah, I mean, it was that it's one of those things that my wife said it before, boy, you should go to scouting. I love it. And that's the one thing I love about doing the Australian thing is that I do consult and suggest players for Perth. And, if they ask me, other teams ask as well. But I love the broadcast thing so much too. So it's kind of like, I don't know, but I love the scouting thing. That is so cool what those guys do and what you guys do, and ladies too. And
I've enjoyed like all these podcasts and Facebook Lives that you're doing and some of the other guys are doing, and Kevin Lukow and Rob and those guys, like it's all really good stuff, and there's so many good stories in the indie leagues, and like putting together like all the pieces and figuring out there's so much from a scouting standpoint, but there's a lot of things that people don't see, and where guys' performances are different than maybe what Baseball Reference shows or that sort of
Right.
thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a book there, and it's fun. Then I start throwing. It's like Paul was telling me from Australia the other day. He was like, "Yeah, because we always laugh. Even Australia, the crazy things that happen over there, because it's a different world away. It's for the game. And there's always, we're always asking ourselves, do we write this down? Make sure we write this down, because we're gonna one day tell this story. Because that you can't. Some of the things have happened. We're just like look at each other and go, "Did that just happen? Did we just see that? Did that just?" No one will believe most of it unless we write it down. So you got to write all that stuff down. It's funny because when I do my morning workout, I always, not always, but a couple times a week, I'll start thinking about some of the great stories. One of them I was thinking about today was I mentioned Ramsey Romano earlier. And I was thinking about why I didn't write a script for that kid's story about riding his RV across the country and living in the parking lot and just trying to get a shot. And I'm thinking that's a movie script. And actually, I saw it happen firsthand. But I didn't realize it at the time. But it just. Yeah, you got to do all that stuff, but
that's
got to get you on, man.
Leagues are different too, so you just see a lot of things, and that's part of what I enjoy about doing the indie leagues are just different, and it's just like some of the stuff I've seen is pretty cool too. But it's also good, like when you see a guy get an opportunity, or the undrafted player that got off to a rough start or bounced around with a bunch of teams or got released, and then that player ends up doing really well like that, whether it's the Red Sox or somebody else. Like you always root for those guys and love to see it when they get an opportunity, regardless of who it's with.
Oh yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's huge. It's a thing. I relate it to from the Australian standpoint. When a guy makes the big leagues, I mean, we had a kid make the big leagues this year, Aaron Whitefield, with the Twins, and he's been back and forth from their big league club and their taxi squad. But I mean, we're making this huge deal about this kid getting a pinch run appearance, but that's such a big deal because kids make their debuts all the time over here, but over there they never make. I mean, it's a big deal when somebody makes it. So, and I love the storylines that of these independent ball's a lot like that, because you got guys that toil and find their way up, and boom, there they are again, and maybe overlooked or whatever. And I just love those stories. It's a great way to live your life, inspired with those people. There's so many times, like a guy like a Colin Willis, for example, a kid that played over in Gary last couple of years. I'm inspired by a kid like that who went to some school I'd never even heard of, and finds a way of getting signed. I think the Red Sox signed him, didn't they?
Yeah, right? We signed him last fall.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, but a kid like that, and he goes over to Australia, does great. But anyway, to see a kid like that, and there's all kinds of stories like that. I mean, I love it because you can't. Hey, William Sinclair, going to see a Spider down in Australia. Speaking of legendary Australians, but what's for dinner tonight? What do you got going up there?
I'm not sure yet. So I taught in the morning and afternoon, and then did my cross country stuff, and I'm probably here for another hour, and then my wife does a great job cooking at home, so it's going to be a little bit of a late night, and I've got to prepare some lesson plans for my college classes tomorrow. So like everything kind of hit today with teaching and coaching and all that stuff, so it's kind of like back to the non-baseball grind.
Yeah, so it's kind of I'm only about 2 weeks away from my off-season mode because the wife's teaching again, and I start my honey-do list, which gets lengthy. It gets lengthy. I mean, it goes from so I'm going to milk this next 2 weeks for all it's worth, and then I'll be honey-do list, which go total different. At least the girls are in college. When they were in school, it required a lot of stuff with them when they were home. But at least they're gone, so there's less with that. I have more honey-dos, but I gotta I also got to keep things clean too, which is a real challenge for me. Keeping the house clean, especially when the wife goes to school, when they start going back to campus, and I've got to oh wait, I got to clean that up. Oh no, I got to make the bed. Oh no, I got to. Because believe me, the honey-do list gets longer if I don't keep it clean. So I got to keep it clean, mate. So
yeah, and I was joking with my wife. I said I've never done this much yard work or this much lawn work. I was making dump runs almost every morning and spending an hour or two in the yard. And I jokingly said to her on Saturday, I said, I think this is my last lawn dump run of the year, with school starting and everything. So,
Well,
I guess the silver lining was having some time to work on some projects that never
yeah.
get done, especially warm weather stuff that there's just no time to do
Hey,
during the season.
I'm the same way. That's why. Well, it's like I decided no one was going to call games. Little things like I hadn't edited video. This sounds nerdy, but I hadn't edited video in 25 years. So I started working on editing video, certain things like that. Certain things I just haven't done that maybe could help me be more productive next season. Kind of little things like that I would never have had during the season. It just comes to me a wave, and I just assign an intern to it. Hey, edit me this, and have it for me. Well, now, in a pinch, I can pull some of the stuff off that I couldn't do before because technology keeps coming at you, but I don't have time to absorb it all the time because I'm too busy, doing games and all that stuff. So this has been I've actually made the most of it for the most part. So I'm actually nerding out, and getting some skills. It's just scary, and dropping pounds too. That's a more important thing. So
no, that's great. That's great. No, I was happy to hear that. It's great, that you're doing that.
I walked an hour and freaking 16 minutes today. Now I'm walking, and I sort of lightly jog here and there, but I mean, it was 90s, something like that. It wasn't quite 100 yet, or wasn't quite 100 today, but an hour and six. I hadn't done anything for an hour and 16 minutes except for maybe sit at a bar and have a couple of suds. I mean, I can't think of anything I've ever done besides watch a game. But I mean, even when I was in good shape in high school, I never caught a ball game for an hour and 16 minutes. There was never an inning that long. I mean,
yeah.
Even in high school football, we'd come off the sideline at timeouts and stuff. But yeah, so it's good. It's good. Well, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to go ahead and let everybody else go, I guess. But I'm glad you jumped on. I'll message you so we can get on the steakhouse, mate.
Yeah, that sounds good. It was good chatting, and
stay safe.
Good work.
Thanks, mate. Stay safe, David. And
thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'm glad you jumped on. See how easy it was, folks. Thanks, mate.
See you.
Be good. There we go.
Bye now.
So we've our footprint now in Connecticut was David joining us there. I got the voice of. I'm going to take that down there. Long time work with the Red Sox, and I've known him. What's so cool about what I do for a living, and actually this whole show today, Kevin I met through the game, David I met through the game. These are people I've met through the track. And then I mentioned Paul, who checked in a while ago. My broadcast, William. I mean, look at it, Brooke. And now Eric is a TCA guy. Tom, but Jim Bennett. I mean, I got a lot of folks here. David, an old neighbor, but a lot of folks here that I'm seeing that this game has blessed me, that my career has blessed me. And I thought about that today, working on the website. I mean, it's blessed me beyond belief to be able to go internationally, live in different cities and meet different people. And I'm a real fortunate. And granted, I'm not doing it this summer, but still, I've got such great mates that again, William and Don and Brooke and David and Kevin, others. I'm looking at the list. I got Claire here. Jim, I can't see the rest of them. Anyway, Craig earlier from Winnipeg. I mean, we're talking about people I've met through the broadcast booth, through baseball, through the blessing of doing that. So I want to show you guys this before I let you guys go. Let me pull this up on the screen. I'm going to share the screen real quickly here. This is what I was talking about the other day. I think I talked about this on Friday, and I'm going to give you this kind of a good feeling going away. Let me share this here. Here we go. I discovered this last Thursday, I think it was. And I'm going to set this video up for you. This is off Twitter. It's been shared millions of times now, so it's gone viral and then some. This is the video I talked about of the little kid in the driveway. And remember now, when you see this Twitter post, you think that something bad's going to happen. That the dastardly neighbor is upset. The little kid keeps driving through his driveway. He's going to scare him. I thought he was going to jump out and scare him, or put nails down to flatten his tires. I didn't, because in this day and age of 2020, the way people treat each other, and that's sad. The sad thing is I'm more inclined to see something negative because I'm thinking, okay, we treat each other so bad now. We don't have much love and empathy. We're canceling each other out. We don't want to be good citizens. We don't want to be good to each other, no matter what the story is. So my first knee-jerk was, this is going to be really a bad thing, this little kid. Well, this is not the way it happened. This is actually totally not what happened. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you guys, and let's see if I can play it. Okay, you guys see this little kid is driving, is right with his folks. He's every time they come by, morning, afternoon, they fly through this. He flies through this driveway. Okay, so you're seeing what's happening. Okay, here we go. Continue to play this for you. Sorry about that, guys.
So I actually used the rear stand from the 848.
All right, I won't play the whole thing, but I'll let this thing play the back. I'm going to pull the volume down here for you guys here. Let me bring this down. I want to show you guys, but what I thought was so cool, let's play this, continue to play it here in the background, but I want you guys to see. Oops, sorry about that. There we go. And it shows you, he even put the, you can see, put the little, like a racetrack, like the little curb warnings that they have at the Formula One races, right? He's got, it tells you to watch, slow down. Of course, little kid, probably not old enough to read, but slow down, speed up for the win. And he actually had a finish line for the little kid, a little trophy he drove down there, which I think is really, really cool. And again, I love, and I showed this to my wife, but now you see the little kid, he's having a blast, which I think is so cool. I mean, and again, it's such a, I went into it thinking, okay, they're going to jump out and scare the heck out of this little kid. But he's got this whole racetrack deal going on. And we need more things like that. It's like the one I saw, what's the one I saw of the policeman? And I don't remember where this was. I want to say this was in Oregon, maybe, or Washington State, I think. But there was, let me see, I don't know if I can find that one, but there was a policeman who pulled over, and I believe it was an African-American guy, and I don't remember the whole story exactly. By the way, you want to find that, I'm going to give you the link to this gentleman's, well, this is not actually him. I got this from Mike Singleton, is a NBC executive, but this was not from his account. And I have to, I'll try to find that. I'll find that for you guys on Wednesday, so I can give you a credit to. Let me see if I can find that link to it. Man makes track. Let's see if that racetrack comes up. Racetrack for intruder. Yeah, here we go. And that was just done recently. Let's see if I can find it here. Human beings. I'll find it for you guys on Wednesday. But anyway, the point was, I thought it's a great example. Along with the cop, there was the video of the cop, and I haven't seen. I just saw this yesterday. There was a gentleman who pulled these people over, and one was black. I think it was a black and a white guy. Don't quote me on this, okay? But I know one was, and the gentleman says, "What I done wrong, officer?" And he's like, "Nothing. Well, you're your brake lights are out. I said, yeah, my brake. He told him, yeah, my brake lights are out. But I've had it looked at, and they keep going out, and I don't know what the problem is, and I really can't afford to get these things fixed, and I'm in a real rock and a hard place. Well, the gentleman, the policeman says, well, let me pop the trunk or whatever. So basically, the long and the short of it is the gentleman, the policeman gets down there and basically figures out by checking behind the brake area or the bumper, there was something loose. But also, he had him pop the trunk, and there was some kind of repeater or something in the system that was out. And this policeman had been a mechanic in his past, fixed the taillights of this guy, and was climbing under the guy's car doing this, and it didn't give him a ticket. And so we need more things like that. My point is, we need more good things, because right now my news is going on here on my left, and it's protesters clashing. Bad news, bad news, bad news. Even the sports, bad news, no fans. Will we have fans? Will we have sports? Will we do anything? Bad news, bad news, bad. It's depressing. So when you see things like a guy making a racetrack for a little kid who has no idea maybe the ramifications of it, but as adults, I see that, I'm going, because again, I'm sitting there, the cynic in me is sitting there going, this is going to end badly for that kid. This kid's going to have some surprise, because that's how we think these days. We're so focused on the bad, the negative, and it's like we were talking about, not to be evangelical about it, but one of our pastors at church yesterday was saying this very same thing, and I'm guilty of it as anybody. The other shoe's going to drop. Well, how much worse can it be? And you're thinking, okay, this is going to be bad for this little kid who's driving, because you think it's an old codgy old man is not going to let somebody ride in his neighborhood or his street. But all it was a chalk thing. It's like I saw the deal of the gentleman who would the little kids that made the little hopscotch thing, and it got washed away. He keeps putting them out there for them every day. I mean, those are the things we got to be doing. So anyway, my point was, I keep saying love each other more, have some empathy, things like that make my day. We need more things like that, not the nonsense. So hopefully we'll all go out and be a little bit better. Big thanks to my mom, to David, to W40, to all you folks who join us here on the show. Virtual Happy Hour, the show that basically walks up the bar and says, hey, give me two, whatever you got. We just do it. We just kind of chat a bit. Wednesday, what we'll do Wednesday? Wednesday, I'll probably tell Dennis stories. That's about what I'll do. That'll make me nervous. You know what? I'll be nervous. It always drives me insane to be there with my mouth open and prodding down there, and not good for business, folks. All good. Anyway, thanks for joining me here on Virtual Happy Hour. Glad you guys stopped by. We will see you guys again 5 o'clock. By the way, if you really want to expand your entertainment, please check out Dan Vaughn YouTube, Dan Vaughn Broadcaster. YouTube's always where this show is actually going live right now. Check it out. I'll follow you back on Twitter as well at Dan Vaughn Jr. I should pull this up, but yeah. All right. You guys know the drill, right? You're watching, right? So thanks for joining me. Have a great rest of your evening. I got to make some salmon. Got to go hug the wife. Hugs all you. Love y'all. Miss y'all. Hope you're doing well. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. We resume one more time on Virtual Happy Hour. Let's put the clothes up. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. See you guys on Wednesday. Love y'all.